Hey everybody, it's GoblinX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing another premiere draft of Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Without further ado, let's pack one, pick one, another absurd green rare, as we have been doing in many drafts lately. This is a 4 mana 6/5 trample. You can play it at instant speed as long as you control a desert. You can also exile it from your graveyard as mana ramp, putting another desert from your library onto the battlefield tapped. This thing's busted. That's just way too much stats for such a cheap cost. Wow. All right, and we got past the pack that probably had 3 rares in it because now we get Beast Bond Outcaster, which I think is what I'm going to take, versus Free Strider Lookout, which mana ramps you every time you commit a crime. I feel like the Beast Bond Outcaster is a little more consistent. There are tons of ways in green to play a power 4 or greater creature on turn 4. You know, Giant Beaver at common, Colossal Rattleworm at rare. Plenty of really easy ways to slam this down after you plot it out. There's even some ways to plot this turn 2 and play it on turn 3, still drawing the card. So I think this is really consistent, great card draw. Whereas Free Strider Lookout, since you do have to be committing a crime over and over and over, just a little less consistent for me. Pick number 3, Tumbleweed Rising, is great for a green deck with a bunch of beefy creatures, which is exactly the path we're taking with Beast Bond Outcaster. Also, Colossal Rattleworm is a beefy creature, so I think Tumbleweed Rising looks great and sticks to monocolored for now. There are a couple very reasonable options here to push into our second color, which would basically just be removal. Scorching Shot or Getaway Glamour would be fine, but I'm going to stick mono green. Big beef for now. Pick 4, Miriam. Miriam is wild in the green-white mounts strategy because a lot of those creatures are just solid creatures for their stat lines or for their mana costs, like a 4 mana 4/4 vigilance, a 2 mana 3/1 that can give itself first strike, stuff like that. So loading them up with +1/+1 counters for super cheap is absurd. This was a really loaded draft pod. Probably a lot of these packs with multiple rares if cards this quality are getting past this late. I'm going to take Miriam over Tumbleweed Rising. It's a little speculative. We might not be able to go green-white, but she's going to be so strong if we can. She is worth that speculation. Pick 5, there's a Hell to Pay, which is a fine removal spell out of red. I don't think it's great because you do end up dumping quite a bit of mana into this to kill a decently sized creature. And you don't get too many treasure tokens that often. So this is fine, but honestly it's on par with a lot of the common removal spells. So I'm not going to take it too highly here. I'll just stick to our green-white for now with a Sterling Keykeeper. Pick number 6. Anything with Sterling in the name has played decently. I like the Sterling Supplier, just a big flyer to top off your curve. Pick number 7, we've got a Voracious Varmint to keep the 2 drops rolling, to keep nice and aggressive, or we have Stagecoach Security. Solid top end, but I think green has tons of solid top end at common, so we don't really need to take security particularly highly at all. Pick number 8, I'll speculate on a Lush Oasis for some fixing just in case. We could also speculate towards Mourner's Surprise as the strongest card in the pack, but I'll just take a random desert here. If nothing else, it gives us something to search out with Rattleworm once that dies. Now we get another Keykeeper. Sphere Clear's fine in green-white mounts, but pretty bad. We don't have enough mounts for it. I guess I've taken no non-creatures so far, but I still think I can do better than Steer Clear when we have like 0 mounts right now. Pick 10, grab an Outlaw Medic. Pick 11, grab a random Desert. So this is kind of awkward. We got a pick for Miriam, but 0 mounts passed around this draft pod. So green-white not looking too open. But we got great green early, so we're pretty locked in on that. And we still got fine white cards later. They're just not good for like a mount deck. So we'll be able to draft a bunch of cards in these colors. Probably a bunch of solid cards in these colors. Maybe not be super synergy driven here. Okay, pack 2, pick 1. Well, there we go. There's an excellent 2 mana mount. I'm going to slam dunk that while I still can. The only other options we care about really at all are Patient Naturalist. Honestly, Townsfolk and Rustler Rampage are not great. All right, pack 2, pick 2. Super good pack here. I like Claim Jumper. It's very good when you're on the draw, but when you're on the play, it is just a 3-mana 3/3 Vigilance, which is kind of mediocre. So it's very coin flippy. Aloe Alchemist is always absurdly big for its cheap mana cost, and Spinewood's Armadillo is always excellently flexible. It's a great top end, just 7/7 that's hard to target, or if you draw it early and you need the fixing, you get to use it as fixing. So I like these both a ton. I think we have an aggressive enough curve here to be like super into this Aloe Alchemist though. So I'm gonna roll with that. All right, pick 3, we get some premium mounts. They're competing with removal, and we have 0 removal right now and 1,000,000 creatures. But I really like getting good mounts with Miriam, so I'm going to be a bit of a doofus here and take a mount over a removal spell. I'm going to take Rambling Possum. I think that's a little more flexible than the Drover Grizzly. They're both solid, but Grizzly's very low toughness. The Possum can attack with very high toughness, can attack in real consistently. I like the Paladin as well. I like the Mystical Tether as well, but I want to get a mount with this Miriam. Let's get another mount. All right, pick 4. We're low enough on removal to play the really expensive removal, I think. We'll take the Betrayal at the Vault. Really want to try to cast this when your opponent is out of interaction or when they're tapped out, because you can get absolutely blown out if they kill your creature in response to this. But if they can't, this is a great 2-for-1 removal spell. I like Dance of the Tumbleweeds a lot as well for rampier, slower green decks, but let's get some actual removal. Pick 5, well, here we go again. Get a Mystical Tether, take it over Bighorn. It's a solid mount that gives us another mount for the Miriam synergies, but it is a slower, higher mana curve one, and Miriam's really good with the cheap ones. I think I take Tether over Bighorn. I do like both a lot, though. Pick 6, get that green-white desert. That's perfect for the Rattleworm. Yeah, perfect on color fixing. We could splash in to Make Your Own Luck, or play around with Mobile Homestead. That gets counters with Miriam as well, but let's get this fixing. I feel like the Mobile Homestead's always fine. It's never massively impressive to me. Frontier Seeker, on the other hand, can be really good. Speaking of things that are really good, Stoic Sphinx is wild this late. I mean, maybe green, blue, splash, white could be a possibility. This card is nigh unbeatable. 5/3, hexproof if you don't cast anything else. I think Stoic Sphinx is a big enough reason to be green, blue, splash, white, unless we get past these Bighorns late, because Take the Fall and Jin are just not going to get played out of blue. I don't know. I think the Sphinx is definitely worth the speculation, at least. These blue cards are also not exciting for green-blue. Do all 3 colors, Wrangler's kind of cool, but we're going to be casting stuff during our turn, like every turn, so. I'm pretty low on non-creatures. Let's grab this random trick thing, the Rustler Rampage. I don't like these blue spells either. Yeah, I mean, I think blue's probably open in this draft pod, but also just blue's cards are like weak enough, particularly with green, that we're not really finding things that would fit into a green-blue deck trying to play the Stoic Sphinx. So maybe the speculation plays out poorly. I mean, Repulse is great in any blue deck, so maybe we'll get there, but just the sheer quantity of white spells that we have and that we're getting late means we might be glued to that. We'll see. Pack 3, pick 1. Another Bridled Bighorn. Tumbleweed Rising is super fine in green too. Bristlepack Sentry's fine as well, but again, if we play green-white, we have lots of 2-drops right now. Oh yeah. Our curve is really low for green-white. We can use another 4-mana card. There's nothing for the green-blue deck here, right? I mean, I guess there's a good green card, Tumbleweed Rising. Yeah, I'll take the Bighorn. Congregation Gryph, well, beautiful card for green-white mounts. It works exceptionally with Miriam, and it is hard to look any other direction from there. No mounts in this pack, but we do have a Take Up the Shield, an excellent combat trick when we are very low on non-creature spells. Join the party. Giant Beaver is an excellent mount to work with the Miriam, and just very excellent card in general, 4/4 Vigilance for 4. Grab that over the Dance of the Tumbleweeds. I could have seen definitely an alternate universe where we were full on Bant with a bunch of Dance of the Tumbleweeds to get the double blue for Stoic Sphinx, but we would literally only be playing Stoic Sphinx and Repulse as our blue spells. But there were enough Dance of the Tumbleweeds in this draft pod, we 100% could have got there. I like Prairie Dog a lot. I'll take this and cut like the Outlaw Medics for that. Currently we're at 22 non-lands. We can't cut anything yet, but once we need to start cutting cards, we'll start dropping the Outlaw Medics. Really good defensive cards, but we are aggro. Another Mystical Tether. Let's go. Good grief. This set is so powerful. What's the creature to non-creature here? 17/6. I really don't love defensive removal in green-white, so I am going to take Bighorn here and just cut the medic for it. It's 23 non-lands. Yep. Rare draft time. The deck kind of built itself here. I don't think we need to do any deck building after this. I'll play a Bristlepack Sentry over an Outlaw Medic. We have enough ways to get 4-power creatures. That'll be super worth it. 10, Wanted Griffin. Probably not playing it. Actually, I'll just rare draft an uncommon. Nurturing Pixie. Not playing that. I'll rare draft the rare. Rare. I didn't even notice that earlier. There are two of the same rare in a row. Obeka? If anybody had great upkeep abilities, they could really go for it. For mana curve purposes, it might not be terrible to play a Townsfolk over a 2-drop. But I don't think I will, because I just don't think Townsfolk is that great for this deck. I don't think it's like excellent in any deck. But there's like no synergies here, outside the fact that we are running a lot of creatures. Yeah, I guess our 2-drop slot is just so monumentally full of stuff that we just cut one of those over a Townsfolk. We actually don't have as many ways to buff our creatures as most of the decks I've been running with Bristlepack Sentry. That might be inconsistent enough to cut that. Just run a bunch of cards that can always attack. Yeah, I mean, we've got to Take Up the Shield, we've got a Miriam for our like 3-power mounts to become 4-power, or our 3-power creatures to become 4-power, but not a massive power 4 or greater quantity, and rarely will we get the counter onto the Sentry specifically. I think the Sentry plays really well in green-white mounts when you have a few copies of the +1/+1 to one of your creatures and then shoot another card. Because then you can like make your 3-power mounts 4-power and boom, Sentry's just going. Or you can use it on the Sentry and it's a 4/4 till end of turn, so it can attack that turn, stuff like that. Probably not super great here, so I'll just cut that. Run all creatures that don't have Defender. We're just going to be bashing in. And yeah, call it a deck here. All right, here's the final deck list for today. We're on a green-white mount deck with a really aggressive curve. Just a ton of 2-mana creatures to slam down on the board. And curving all the way up to just a tiny bit of finishers, a Sterling Supplier here, and a bunch of big mounts, and a gigantic Rattleworm. There's really not a lot to say about this deck. It is one of our most self-explanatory, most aggressive decks that we've drafted. We're slamming down creatures, we're attacking, and we're hoping our opponents die before they play anything too scary. But if they do resolve a good bomb, maybe we'll have a Mystical Tether or a Betrayal at the Vault to deal with it. Without further ado, let's just hop right into that gameplay and see how it does. Alright, here we are on the play for game 1. We get to just roll out with this Burrow Fiend and see how much garbage we can throw in the graveyard to fling at their face with our Badger Beast. Conduit Pylons turn 1 from our opponent, and they keep the card. Well, this is awkward, because I just top-decked Congregation Gryff, which is a good 3-drop to play, but it won't be able to saddle the Burrow Fiend. Uh-oh. 2-mana, 2/3 flyer. it sticks around long enough, they could do some kind of flicker effect to make it a 4/5 flying lifelink, and then we're having a real bad time. Alright, I'm going to play the townsfolk over the Griff so I can try to get Burrow Fiend to just slam into them anyway. Need to mill a creature, and there we go, there's a creature. Put them down to 17. Nice 2/3, but I got a couple 3/3s to beat down with. Alright, Boros from our opponent. There's the Mine Raider. Is that an outlaw? No, it is not. So that's just a 3/2 blocker. I'm threatening the double block on the Burrow Fiend if I don't mill double creature off of the saddle this turn. Yeah. Well, Tumbleweed Rising is very good with Burrow Fiend. I like that. I don't really want to send Townsfolk into a 3/2, so I am going to saddle up with the Burrow Fiend, and based on what happens there, that's what I'm going to choose to do. So if I hit 2 creatures and this is a 5/5, then I'll probably play Keykeeper and Rising, but otherwise, I'll just play the Congregation Griff. Alright, we didn't hit 2 creatures, so we just play the Griff. Turn 4 for our opponent. There's a tap land and another Mine Raider. That one will get a treasure, because the first Mine Raider is an outlaw. Alright, again, we don't want to send in the Burrow Fiend until we have 5 power at least. Let's see what we get here. 4 power? Yeah, not yet, so we just buff Congregation Griff instead. 3 power lifelinker in the sky. I kind of don't want a Tumbleweed Rising until I'm getting a 5 power card either. I don't know why Plot is so loud. But yeah, I'm going to plot the Tumbleweed Rising so that the turn we get a 5-drop, we get to go crazy. Oh, speaking of going crazy, massive Stagecoach security here. It's 11 damage, and they hold up every single blocker still. I think we take it, because we've got Congregation Griff, but it's painful. Down to 12. It lands here. What do you have for me, Burrow Fiend? There's a creature. Ooh, and a Colossal Rattleworm. Grab a Desert from my deck? I don't think I want to. I just want Burrow Fiend to keep being bigger. Although Burrow Fiend is going to die this turn. They just block with double Mine Raider, I guess. Yeah, we tap Stagecoach Security, send in. They block with double Mine Raider. Alright. I do get to Tumbleweed Rising, though, which is nice. For 6/6. I go to 15. I'm slightly worried about the crackback if I don't just hold on to Keykeeper instead. I guess if I hold on to Keykeeper, I can tap 2 things, which is also nice. Yeah, you know what? Just hold. Just chill. Then I can tap something before they go to combat and tap something during my turn. Bertha Joe. Alright, 2 blockers on the ground. So we're really just getting there off Congregation Griff, and that's it. I guess I just tapped a flyer, because I can just block something with a 6/6. Well, the draws aren't good, but Congregation Griff is good enough by itself. I guess the 1 extra power on Burrow Fiend is probably irrelevant enough to just thin a desert out of his deck. with Rattleworm. It does also ping them for 1 more damage, which could be relevant as well. Trained Arinx. Outlaw Medic. They do have to use the Mercenary before they go to combat, so choose exactly where the buffs are going, and then I can just tap whatever I'm scared of. Right, so if they use the Mercenary to make something 6 power, I'm just like, okay, tap it. Sterling Keykeeper really doing a lot of work this game. They're just going to go straight to combat. Again, I think if they want to attack with a wide board and let me kill a 6/6, or kill something with a 6/6, I will do that. All right. Fair play from our opponent. They think their best bet is 6, 7, 8, 9. Like surprise lethal us or something. Oh, they have ride down? Alright, well that's gross. Really wasn't expecting that. The uncommon from the prosperity post. I don't think we're taking lethal, but we're taking a lot. Yeah, we're down to 5 now. They have 2 blockers up. I can tap the lifelinker. They chump the Burrow Fiend, take lethal. Yeah, they take lethal. They block the Burrow Fiend, sure. But, okay, well now they definitely take lethal, right? So block Burrow Fiend. I have to saddle it, though. I have to saddle the Burrow Fiend and the Griff. I can only saddle one of the 2. So I saddle the Griff. I hit for 3 in the sky. They have to block Townsfolk. Then Burrow Fiend doesn't lethal? What happens if I saddle Burrow Fiend? They have to block Burrow Fiend and then they take 5, which isn't lethal. Oh my god, no. Wait. Because I have to saddle these things for the buffs, I can't lethal. Right? Oh no, I kind of preemptively keykeepered here. This would have been better the other way around, because now I'm going to be tapped out and at not enough life to survive. Three power plus 2 power. And no, it's not. It's not enough. I mean, with Take Up the Shield, they can't kill me on the crackback, but they might think that they can. Oh, I really should have held off here. Shoot. We would be really likely to survive the crackback if I just held up Keykeeper. But I thought we could lethal here. Because they only chump 1 card, but the problem is I have to saddle both to make them big enough to lethal. Yeah, we take so much more damage without Keykeeper up. But if all they hit's a basic off the top, maybe not enough damage. Here we go. What is the maximum damage we can stop here? Block a 4 power creature and gain 5 off of Take Up the Shield. Block a 3 power creature and gain 1. Block a 3 power creature, period. Block a 3 power creature, period. I am theoretically gaining 5, so I will be at 10 life, taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I do this instead, I keep the Burrow Fiend for more likely lethal next turn, taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Still not lethal when I'm at 10. They have any instant speed removal to kill townsfolk, I'm gonna die either way to them responding to Take Up the Shield. All right. They're at 8, 1 card in hand. It is a land. Really close game. Closer than it needed to be. We were locked in to win that game if I had just realized that I wasn't at lethal and just held on to the Keykeeper, so almost punted it out in the end, but we do find the victory and we start things off 1-0. Here we are for game 2. Hey, I like turn 2 Prairie Dog. Turn 2 Prairie Dog into Plot the Alchemist to get a permanent counter on it's pretty fun. But I have a really good creature curve, so I might just slam things down anyway. Oh my god, we can plot a Tumbleweed Rising too? Never mind. Plot Tumbleweed Rising, plot Alchemist, do whatever. Keep that Prairie Dog active. Yeah, I think plot Tumbleweed Rising first is better, because then next turn the Alchemist buffs the Prairie Dog, and I cast the Tumbleweed Rising when I have a 6 power Prairie Dog to get a 6/6 off Tumbleweed Rising. Unless they bounce or kill the Prairie Dog, but that's a 3/3, they're not bouncing or killing it. They are going to dig for a land off the homestead. And they miss. Just 3 damage to me. There's a Bighorn. Go Bighorns. Let's plot the Alchemist. Get the huge buff, and this is an incredible turn. Boom, they're down to 11. Boom, I have a 6/6 and a 4/4 lifelink on board. We haven't used the most of our mana, but the synergies have spit out such powerful creatures that it was absolutely worth it to play off curve here. Now they're going to have a Railway Brawler. That's one of the few cards that is strong enough to maybe get them back in this game, because this thing is busted in half. I have not lost a single game where I've cast it. I don't think I've won a single game against it. Maybe I have. I've played against a lot, I feel like. Well, I mean, we're definitely sending in. All they can do is chump, and then we just figure out what we want to play. Probably Bighorn, right? Just spend the most of our mana. I could see an argument for Keykeeper. If we had another 2-drop, it would really easily be Keykeeper as the play. But we don't. So I can only play 1 spell this turn. And Possum's kind of interesting to pick up the Alchemist to give something trample again, give a 6-power creature trample again. You know, weirdly enough, I'm actually going to go Keykeeper here. I think being able to shut off a blocker is going to be a big deal. They're going to have a 5/5 as the smallest blocker, and they cast any creature, and it's going to be like a 10/10. Yeah, 6/6, same difference. 0/5? Alright, that doesn't matter. Burrow Fiend's a good draw because I can cast that while tapping creature this turn. We're definitely tapping a creature this turn. I think we're just going to lose to the stupid Railway Brawler, though. As I send in a 6/6, they just trump with a crab. I send in 3 creatures. They go bounce, trade. No, they go eat. Eat the Alchemist. No, they go eat the Prairie Dog. Trade with the Commando, trump with the crab, and that's just a really good turn for them. Yeah, no, they're just... cast a bunch of 3-mana 6/6s, and we're not going to be able to get through here. I think. Yeah, this is rough. We only have the 6/6 attack. They can double block and kill it, but that lets me kill the Railway Brawler. Alright, the trump it is. Here's the Burrow Fiend. God. 4 mana 8/8 Vigilance, casually. It's a mount too, so I can't even tap it. I don't have a 2-drop to play, so if I want to tap something, I can't cast anything. Oh, this sucks. Of course, this thing's vigilance too, so it's going to start ripping my life total away. I can't attack through the 8/8, and I can't tap the 8/8. So we need to just slam things on the board so that whenever I do top deck removal, I might have enough creatures to clear a path for lethal. By having like 3 more creatures than our opponent. Just have 2 2/2s and a 3/3 hit for 7. Come on. God dang it. Oh. Railway Brawler and I are massive enemies once again. Does this get lethal? Maybe. I can just pray that it does. Might as well, right? Feels like the best I can do. 1 creature gets in, so they just let a 2/2 in and I hit them for 4 and they're fine. Better to just sit here and wait? I can't imagine it is. They're gonna hit me so hard real quick. I feel like things just get worse and less likely to kill them with a rampage the longer I wait. This might be wrong, but here I am, praying. I mean, this is probably wrong, right? If they just go for the obvious blocks on board, they don't die to the rampage. Just 8/8 on the 6/6, 6/6 on the 4/4, 5/5 on the 3/2. No, 5/5 on the 3/4, 3/3 on the 3/2, then they take 4 damage. But if they keep Railway Brawler out of combat and don't block with it, they die. So that's like our one hope, is that they want Railway Brawler so badly that they won't declare a block with it at all. Is a possibility. A rare chance, but a chance nonetheless. Hold on, what? Huh? All right, here we are for game 3. We are going to need another green source, but pretty into this hand. I mean, it's got Prairie Dog into Possum with Mystical Tether for removal no matter what. It's definitely not a mulligan. But if we find another green source, that's what makes the hand all castable, which is beautiful because the Rattleworm even gets to have Flash. We've got the Desert for it. So we can ambush an attacker. Oh, that is such a disappointing mill for our opponent. Oh my god. Opponent self-mills with the Bloodseeker and hits 2 cheap removal spells. No creatures or anything that actually matters in grave. Oh, Sheriff Prairie Dog, no! They shot the Sheriff. Well, now I don't have to feel as bad about just slamming down a 3-drop the turn after I played the Prairie Dog, because it wouldn't get the benefit anyway. Oh, it's not a green source. Well, go Bighorns. I'm gonna just hit for 3 rather than saddle up the Possum, because if I saddle up the Possum, I hit for 4 instead of 3, but then I have no blockers, so they gain 2 back. So it's kind of like hitting for 2 instead of 3. Although this is suspicious, but I've got a backup, so whatever. Show me the tricks so I can learn what to play around in the future. Oh, is it the 2/2 that kills something that was dealt? Yeah, it is. Well, Rattleworm doesn't. Ooh. Ooh. My train of thought is dead. We derailed it. They cast Explosive Derailment for 5. I was talking about the rattleworm, but now it's all about Miriam. Prosperity Tycoon. Multiple blockers. They can double block the possum to kill it if I don't saddle up. So we just saddle up, right? Yeah, I'm not putting Miriam at any danger, so she's gonna saddle it. I should probably attack with Keykeeper as well. I don't think I'm using its ability. I'm just gonna flash in Rattleworm. Or I could flash in Mystical Tether, that's also decent. Is this 5 toughness? Why is this 5 toughness? Move over, Crawworm. Although Crawworm has not been great in a long time. I think I would rather have another surprise attacker than try to ambush the Tycoon when they have all that mana open. Because they could potentially just kill the Rattleworm with any kind of combat trick. The +1/+1 counter with lifelink indestructible would be particularly bad. Okay, there's Vault Plunder. Yeah, this feels good. They only have 2 toughness up and we're playing a 6/5 trample. So, it seems like a big deal. In fact, I can tap their whole board with Keykeeper and tether, or make their whole board unable to block. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's lethal. They need something real good. 5, 6, 7, 8. Plus 6. That's 14, yeah. Actually 15, because Miriam. Alright, well. Surprise 6/5 trample really ruins blocking math, and we just get a free kill off the Rattleworm. Disgusting stuff, and we are now 3-0 heading into game 4. Alright, really excellent opening hand here on the play for game number 4. Drop our Heath and move on from there. Let us play a Varmint, and then a Griff, and then a Possum, then a Rising. Curve subject to change. Alright, well, get out of here, Splasher. Maybe supposed to play the Possum first. The Griff hits a little less hard. No, it hits just as hard. I'm wrong. Never mind. It's 3 damage with 1 other mount. I'm just bad at numbers. It gets +2 because it's a mount as well. So yeah, that was the correct curve. So we hit for 3 and gain 3 instead of just hit for 3. Actually, no, the Possum would hit for 4, but the life gain's probably relevant. Crom! I'd like to kill you, Crom, but I can't. What I can do is have a massive double strike attack. I could also just make a big, beefy friend, which is pretty cool too. Yeah, it's probably time to make a beefy friend. Get a 4/4 for 2 mana. Ka-ching! Cheap beef. Actually, you know what? I think that turn was wrong. We probably should have made a 3/3 so I could have attacked with Possum and the Griff, because then I could have saddled with the Summoning Sick 3/3 instead. Yeah, I end up with a smaller creature, but I pressure their life total harder. Get more damage in early. I think that's worth it. Should be all about tempo here, just trying to get them to 0 as quickly as possible, rather than go for maximum size on these threats. Keep that in mind in the future. Was a little autopilot there. Oh yeah, especially since they're blue, so they could just bounce the token either way. Would have been significantly better the other way around. Well, that's a solid draw, because now we get to attack into Crom still, and they don't just bounce off. They take the damage. The only way to kill Possum is for them to lose Crom, so let's attack with both here. Cool. We're down to 7. I guess Griff was already big enough to attack into the Crom, even when it was a 3-4. Griff was already going to be attacking as a 4-7. This is such a ridiculous, like, dream curve from our deck. It's really dumb. We do not have that many mounts in this deck. So the fact that we have 4 on board right now with the Congregation Griff is frankly nuts. Well, they get a chump block here. I can't stop that. I could saddle everybody and then untap everybody. But then they know exactly where Double Strike is. That doesn't feel good enough. I think I'm saving the Rampage for potential insta-lethal. So 4-5 doesn't attack well without Rampage. Three, that could be a 4-4. 5-5 or 6-6. Maybe it's just attack with Congregation Griff, play the Keykeeper, and try to tap plus Double Strike next turn. Kind of feeling that. Three mana to untap all our creatures, so I could get a double tap off Keykeeper as well if we hit an untapped land. If we hit a basic. We go tap something, untap our board, give double strike to the Griff, tap something else. So we can tap 2 flyers and try to find lethal if they can't kill our Griff. Oh wait, no, I need another 2 mana for Keykeeper. What am I talking about? I would need 7 mana. I have to spend 2 on Keykeeper again. But I could tap something with Keykeeper and then also still attack with it. Highway Robbery, discard a card, draw 2. 2 mana up from a blue deck can be bounce target non-land permanent, so I do not think I am going for Rustler Rampage lethal if they have that mana still up. Okay, if they tap out, then I am. Easy game. Simple magic. Wow. Alright, well. Rampage. There we go. That is, what, 4-0 now? Just undefeated, steamrolled our way right into breaking even. We're getting all of our gems back out of the event, pretty much. No matter what happens from here. And it only takes 1 more win to leave with more gems than we entered with, and just keep all these cards and get straight cash monies. Not really. Fake cash monies. Gem cash monies. No real dollar bills, but still a great position to be in as we head into Game 5. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 5. We are not going to start out till turn 3, but we've got great spells from there. Possum into Beaver into Supplier. Playing against Boros, so they're pretty likely to start on turn 2, and there they go. Frontier Seeker it is. Stop snitching on me, take up the shield. Don't tell them I got a 2-mana instant. You know we're not targeting their creature. Why do you gotta be this way? Right, 3 mana from our opponent. Now here comes another Frontier Seeker. Well, some solid 2-for-1 value from our opponent. I hope they already had a bunch of lands in their hand, because if they didn't and they actually needed these lands, this is excellent card draw for them. Wow, and they get to bounce the first one. Alright, well, sketch. Get in there, possum. Yeah, I was gonna say, if they double block, I think I have to take up the shield instead of playing Giant Beaver this turn, but wasn't expecting them to want to block here. So I think it was worth that risk of having to throw that out there. Well, they can kill Bruce next turn. Otherwise you may cast it until the end of your next turn. Okay, so they can cast the... Wait, what? Oh my god, alright. Well, they are really looking for the frontier over there. Alright, yeah, Bruce is still gonna have drawn them some lands, but if we can get to Betrayal, we'll be fine. The problem is we might not be able to get to Betrayal. Because we might miss a land drop next turn. We'll see. Probably should have saddled, but this does keep Bruce off of us if they don't have a combat trick in hand. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what's in their hand. But if they don't have a combat trick, they can't attack into Supplier with Bruce. If they do have a combat trick, then their Frontier Seeker's exiled forever, so they're kind of spending 2 cards to do that. Oh my god, we get to just kill Bruce? Legitimately? We're falling miles behind in card advantage, but at the end of the day, we killed the Super Mega Bomb Rare that wasn't going to be beatable, so I'll take it. There's plenty to not be happy about here. With all of the 2-for-1 Frontier Seekers, the free Ox, the extra spells for Bruce, being mega behind in cards. So I'm going to take the victories that we get, the small victories we find. Bruce is gone. They're not going to get any farther ahead off that card, and they missed on the 3rd Frontier Seeker. So again, they're not going to be even farther ahead off that one. Seven, 6? Yeah, they got 6 toughness easy. We got to cast this right now. But I'm 100% attacking. I should have saddled. Well... yeah, I'm at 24. I should have saddled. I'm so loose with the saddling. Should probably stop drafting saddle decks. I'm just going to never saddle. Please do not kill my 7/7. They've got a lot of lands, but that does make sense. A couple Frontier Seekers picked up 2 of those. They have Graveyard Recursion in white. Oh, it's that rare. Oh my god. Oh my god. I have once again found things to be unhappy about. That definitely explains the Bruce plays. Free Alchemist. Woo! Get in there, 7/7. Betrayal at the Vault is actually a 3-for-1. I killed Bruce and Quill Charger and your Ox. Actually, I could have killed the Frontier Seeker now that I think of it. That was 6 power if I got rid of the double strike? Oh my god, I could have had a 4-for-1. I'm a fool and a buffoon, and this is the loosest game of the day, but it doesn't matter. Oh my god, they're just gonna play Bruce Tolerable 3 times. Oh my god. Lord have mercy, please. Stop. I beg of you. One mana off. Townsfolk plus Rattleworm. I think I'm on just Rattleworm then. Okay, it's looking like it might matter because they're pretty low on life. So if you imagine they also didn't have a Frontier Seeker, this would be awesome right now. Oh wow, take 7. Hey Bruce, go ahead and just steamroll me. Except don't. They will get to kill this Rattleworm, but it's at the cost of Bruce and Skewer the Critics. Which is worth it. We get Bruce out of here. 1 card left in hand. Ooh, it's Prosperity Tycoon. And they've got more than enough toughness to kill the 7/7 now. Or more than enough power, I should say. Even if I had killed the Frontier Seeker. Four, 5, 6, 7. They do still lose most of their board and then have a 4/4 out. Oh, no, they don't because they get indestructible. Yeah, that's really bad. We're chilling. We're waiting. All right, well, I'm pretty sure at this point I've punted away this game. This game is close enough that I think with the tightest plays possible, the extra saddle damage, killing the 2/1 as well, we're probably in the lead here where we can still keep attacking. Oh my god, they have enough mana to make this thing a 16/16? Oh no, it's +X +O, not +X +X. Never mind. I thought it was going to turn into a 4/8 and then get another +8. I guess that still wouldn't be a 16/16. Disregard. I'm so bad at numbers. Especially today. This is loose. We gotta turn the undefeated streak around somehow. Oh, that's a real good way to do it. Well, they've got land as well. Just hanging out, taking 8 damage a turn. 9 damage a turn. I don't know what they're holding up here because they haven't been double buffing Armadillo, I think. Unless I'm really out of it. I could be really out of it. This is my 5th draft I've recorded today. I'm ready for sleep. Yeah, they're double buffing it this turn. I don't think they did previously. Wow. Well, what are you going to do about that? So obviously I don't know, because I don't have a photographic memory, if we could have won if I played things perfectly, but we could have played this game out much better. So I think we probably could have won. At the very least, I think we could have our opponent down to like 2 or 3 right now. If it is that kind of position where we could have had them down to 2 or 3 but not killed them, then we just lose because these draws are not relevant at all. But I think there were enough misplays here that it's the kind of thing where we could have probably cracked in for lethal by now. And I played it all out perfectly. I think this is a self-imposed loss, but I don't know. Somebody would have to look over all the turns and know exactly at what points exactly what damage is getting in and everything. I mean, now they just attack in with Tycoon twice. They trade their 1-1 up into a 3-4 or a 4-4. They trade the 2-2 up into a 3-4 or a 4-4. Sterling Supplier off the top is a very good draw. And we're both super low. Flyers are super, super important. Yeah, they can even Mercenary up the Frontier Seeker, attack with a 4-2 and a Prosperity Tycoon. So I have to block one of these. I would rather trade into a 4-2 than a Mercenary token, so we block the Frontier Seeker. And a Mystical Tether? Whew. If I had one more removal spell, they'd be dead. That would have been sweet. Double removal, slam for 5. Alright, well, instead we're dead. We're super dead on the crackback. Yeah, that was probably winnable. But what are you going to do? I'm getting loosey-goosey. Excellent showing from the deck still. Having made the game that close against triple Bruce Tarl. So, I'll stand by it. I've said it many times in the past. I'm not a very good pilot. I'm not great at the gameplay aspect of Magic the Gathering. But I do think we consistently end up with some very solid decks in draft, at least. I think this deck is great. Even if I'm not the one to pilot it, 7 wins. Even if we end up 4-3 due to human error. That's not the part I'm good at. The gameplay. It's the drafting and deck building that I enjoy and focus up on a lot. So if we keep this hand, we hope to find a white source soon, but if we can't find that, any land gets us to Beaver at least. Is that the Tumbleweed? No, it's the Outcaster. Yeah, Tumbleweed costs too much mana. There's the white source. It's tapped. So I don't get to play a spell this turn. That's kind of sad, but still very nice to have. So if they play like a 3-mana 4-2, our opponent is popping off this turn. They get a 4-2 and a 3-3 and draw a card this turn. So let's hope for not that. Okay, that's not that. No Beastbond Outcaster this turn, then. Varmint for Plunderer is not great, but it's not terrible either. I would probably be happier to just get a 4-drop creature on board. Kind of like Bighorn. The 1-1 sheep against Plunderers. Pretty sweet. I'm going to go for Bighorn over Beaver. I can also saddle it without playing another creature, which I can't do with Giant Beaver. That's a saddle 3. This one's a saddle 2. It's a Boombox. So if they get to 6 mana, they get big removal. Oh, Lord have mercy on my opponent. That's not going to be good. Hexproofing Bighorn now. I'm going to tap Miriam because there's no universe in which I'm blocking with Miriam ever. Nope, no, we don't want to double saddle. Yeah, you can't get any extra benefit from double saddling. The first saddle's pretty great, though. You know, I could Varmint that Boombox, come to think of it. Once they have 5 mana, that's probably worth it. deal with it before they play the 6th land. Yeah, Armadillo finds the 5th mana. I mean, I guess right now it's only 1 removal spell. Like, unless I find one of my enchantment-based removal spells, it's only going to kill 1 thing, and it's killing 1 thing for 6 mana in a black deck. Probably really not the end of the world. But it's not like Varmint's doing too much on board anyway. Badlands Revival. Pick up the 7/7 right to the board. And that's disgusting. Now they draw the card off the Outcaster. They have the land to activate Boombox next turn. It does destroy a land. Destroying a land is actually really, really bad for us right now, so I am going to get rid of that. Well, we were fine a second ago, but Armadillo is busted with Graveyard Recursion. Just put it on the board for only 5 mana. You cannot break through that thing. Could give Double Strike to trade into it, but that's not particularly good. Try to start tapping it, but it costs 5 mana to tap it every turn. Really just need our exile removal to deal with it. So just keep slamming stuff down for now. Maybe we are hoping it attacks for some reason, so we can just block with a sheep and then send in the team. That would be super lucky, but I highly doubt that Armadillo is going anywhere. Free Strider Lookout, they get to ramp every time they commit a crime, and there's the crime. Which hits another crime, but it only triggers once per turn, so the next crime doesn't matter. It's a 2 mana 4/4. Not really in a position for that to get any bigger, am I? I don't think so. Not anytime soon, at least. Yeah. Get the board as wide as possible. Nice mana efficient turn. Tons of creatures out. Although Marauder's nasty. As much as I like Giant Beaver, I feel like I'd rather just discard a card here than discard a card and make them draw a card. Or and let them draw a card. There's the Archway to redo crimes with the Free Strider Lookouts. Man. I think this game just 100% came down to the Armadillo resurrection. If it weren't for that, we would have just steamrolled in with so much damage, but that single-handedly walled us off completely. Bought them all the time they needed to just set up value engines. But yeah, without the 7/7 Ward 2, the entire board attacks in. That would have been many turns of massive attacks. Did I say Ward 2? It's a 7/7 Ward 3. Well, I think I'm just gonna attack with everybody next turn and maybe get Double Strike lethal, but probably not, and then concede. Because their board is not getting any smaller. Alright. Well. This is way less than lethal, but I get to scoop and move on to the next game. Yep. Put them to 4 and then die. Sad day. All right, here we are for game number 7. We're 4-2 right now, teetering on the precipice of getting knocked out of this event. A little self-imposed. Our first loss was probably winnable. Second loss, I don't think so. Got brick-walled pretty hard. But this game looks like a great start, so we'll see how far we can take it. I think I want to plot. I guess if I just play this as a 2-2, I get to saddle up the Burrow Fiend, which is probably better. Yeah, you know what? That's probably worth it. Unless they want to spend their counter unless you pay 2 on a 2-2. Which is also pretty favorable, I think. Yeah, alright, you got my 2-2. Get that out of the way. Oh, they're stuck on 2 mana? Well, that explains that. They might be on multiple counter unless you pay 2, but it's not going to have a plot card I can cast here or anything that costs less than 4, so... We still do this pre-combat to buff the Burrow Fiend. Okay. Well, that means sorcery speed removal for Giant Beaver, otherwise why on earth would they kill a 2-2 when a 4-4 is coming up? Just have removal for all our creatures. I bet. If they wait, if it's instant speed removal and they wait, this Take Up the Shield is going to get them really badly. Alright, it's a bounce spell. Sure. Beaver's back. There's land 3. And they plot. Oh, the flashbacker, that's a little annoying. Take Up the Shield works great against the Shoot the Sheriff, though, so we're probably fine. And Outcaster works excellently with the Beaver, getting the +1/+1 counter here. Look, I remembered to saddle this time. We did it. One time. There's the Lock Picker. They could choose the bounce spell if they want to play around, Take Up the Shield. Alright. Fair enough. But I will keep my Beaver around then. Not even throwing my Take Up the Shield anywhere. I wanna get a counter on Outcaster right now for Rampage next turn? No, I don't. Ooh, Sterling Supplier. Alright, well that is a better play for this turn for sure. And then I can cast Beaver and have Take Up the Shield up. I could also like Take Up the Shield plus Rampage for a lethal double strike swing in the sky. Or on the ground. If either of these isn't blocked, they're dead. So I can make sure one of these isn't blocked, spend 2 on Take Up the Shield and 2 on Rampage, and that's death. Alright, cool. Now I don't even need to Take Up the Shield. I can just Rampage. Double strike, boom, 10 damage. And there's the concession. We are now officially in the money. We got there, despite our best efforts. 5-2 now, heading into game number 8. Alright, here we are for game 8 on the draw. We got the Prairie Dog Alchemist combo again. That played out super sweet in the past. So let's just do it again, shall we? We don't have the Tumbleweed Rising to go with it. That would be really nasty. But I still like this start. Playing against green red, they are on the play. If they're just going to curve out with creatures and try to outrace us, I think the gigantic lifelink damage is going to be super helpful here. But if they have the cheap removal, that is going to be sad, and then we just play a Townsfolk and curve out normally. Alright, they're curving out with creatures. Let's do it. Let's race. Yep, we're doing our thing. Ten life point swing there. Hit them for 5 plus gain 5. Cactus Folk Sure Shot. All their power 4 greater creatures have trample and haste now, which is pretty gross. They also try to draw a card to play next turn off the Courser. Oh, and they sure... Oh, they missed. Never mind. I was going to say they sure hit one, but that's 6 mana, not 5, so they can't actually play that next turn. They're at 14. I put them to 11, drop 2 creatures, try to rampage towards a kill quickly. I don't play 2 creatures here. I only play... Well, I do. I play Townsfolk and Alchemist. Never mind. I just don't play 3 creatures because I don't play 2 out of my hand is what I think my brain is trying to reach the conclusion of. There's their own prairie dog. It's a little late, but it arrived. Saddle up the Courser for some card draw. Send in the Sure Shot. Send in the Courser. Ooh, and they hit a 2-mana creature that draws them another card. Great draw there. I think I'm just trying to make sure our counterattacks are as big as possible at all times, so I'm just going to take everything and then send in. There's a chance that we oops lethal them. Oh, and they missed on the Frontier Seeker. That is rough. Any reason to pre-combat a Burrow Fiend or Keykeeper? Nope. Get in there, everybody. If they don't want to block with Burrow Fiend, they might just die for that choice. No, they would have to not block anything to die right now. I lied. That means we're not going to lethal them, but this Rampage is going to be good. Kill both of those and gain a ton of life. Because I can gain 6, I can choose to do 3 to that in first strike and then 3 to that in regular damage. Still keep the Prairie Dog. 6 there. I can spend all 3, so all my creatures are untapped as well and still play a Burrow Fiend post-combat. Untap my creatures, give that one double strike. Auto pay. You choose my damage. I'm going to go 3 there, 0 there. Boop. And then 3 to the other. Boop. For max life gain. 5 life. Is Keykeeper better? You know what? Keykeeper's probably better. With opponent at 5. You can tap down a Prairie Dog with that. There's an Irascible Wolverine for a blocker, and it finds a land. They play that. They just pass back to us. We tap Prairie Dog, attack with everybody, and don't really accomplish anything off that attack. So they are stable, which isn't great for us because they have potential card draw engine with the Courser out. Although it's only going to get one more draw. We can kill it off its first attack. If it attacks right now, I kind of want to just let it in, because then if we top deck removal, they're dead. I guess it depends what they hit off of it. If they miss, then yeah. Yeah, they missed, so 2 mana left. I just tap Prairie Dog. Actually, on board, I tap Prairie Dog, attack with everybody, and they're dead. No blocks. And then if they have a 2 mana creature, then they're dead to top deck removal. Ooh, okay, even worse. It's removal that gains 3 in their hand. Yeah, and then they're not dead to top deck removal. Well, that sucks. Yeah, that was really bad for us. Yeah, well played from opponent. Now we just kind of cry and set up a turn where we can double tap with Keykeeper. Yeah, the waiting to post-combat to throw from the saddle was really smart. To make sure we wouldn't know that they had a super stable position, so we wouldn't take the trade for the Courser there. Oh my god, what a blowout. Well, this game just ended. Clear shot off the top. Make the Courser 5 power and kill something at instant speed. Jesus. I mean, that's just it. If I just let it in, they just kill my lifelinker. And our counterattacks suck. If I don't just let it in, I have to double block with 2 3-power creatures. They're just going to kill all of them. And I'm left with like 2 creatures. Yeah, that just ends it right there. What a hit off the Courser. We've got a very solid deck here, but we don't have anything bomb enough to turn this around. Oh, wow. They still had the steer clear, so they can steer clear plus clear shot. All right. Well, obviously I could have tried to kill the Courser earlier, but even if I did that, apparently they had the steer clear, so this game is starting to look unwinnable regardless of gameplay decisions, but our opponent played it out super well. I don't think we did anything super wrong gameplay-wise with the information we had at the time. But our opponent played in a very smart way to make it so every decision we made panned out horrifically. And the game is just unwinnable from here, right? Because if I kill the Coursers, they don't have card draw anymore. They have the bigger board state, and Prairie Dog gets 2 +1/+1 counters a turn, if nothing else. I mean, Burrowfiend's 5 power? Maybe I can make it 7 power off a saddle, kill the sure shot, let them keep massive card draw? I don't know. Nope, it's still just 5 power. Could still kill them in 2 swings. Maybe we can get them to chump. That would be awesome. Probably not. There's not really like a +3/+3 trick in this format. There's a double strike trick, but we already cast it this game. Yes. All right. Okay. I think that's the first play I made that worked pretty well. Similar to how good our opponent's plays have been going. And now if they saddle the Courser up and then we tether it, that's going to be awesome. I do have to decide if we're supposed to kill it before it declares an attack or not. If we wait for it to declare an attack, they might send in the prairie dog as well and have no blockers up. But the problem there is that what happens if we wait for it to attack and then they just draw a creature off of it anyway? No, I gotta kill it before it attacks. Alright. Solid prairie dog lifelink swing. Ooh, and they hit beaver off the top. That's good. It's very good for our opponent. We're at 8 life, so if I saddle up the Burrow Fiend, we just die. So we can't attack here. Because I would be hitting for 7 maximum. They would survive and then hit me for 9. So. Right. And then the top deck is Prickly Pear. Dang it. I got so excited for a second there. Because when we got our opponent to the position where they had to risk a bad block, it was like, well, now we can turn into a top deck war. We could, but we're losing that top deck war. So it doesn't really matter. In the end. I think we're tapping something pre-combat. Okay, this is interesting. Well, not really. Yeah, no, it's not. We're just dying, period. Go to 1, tap a blocker. I was kind of like, well, the Keykeeper dies, and then if I draw something to saddle a Burrow Fiend, it's massive, but it's like, yeah, then I die on the crackback, so what are you gonna do? Alright, well, I don't think we did anything super wrong there, but obviously some of the plays, in hindsight, if we had perfect information, would have panned out better differently. Don't think it could end in a victory for us, though. I mean, maybe if we instantly traded into the Courser and didn't try to get that quick lethal, but I think going for the quick lethal with the Rampage was solid. A solid idea. Yeah, I don't know. An interesting game for sure. I think we both... Our opponent definitely played better than us, but I think we found nice lines at a couple opportunities there. Obviously, like the Prairie Dog Alchemist start, and then the threatening lethal with the Burrow Fiend to get them to chump with one of their best creatures was really nice. Holding up the Mystical Tether, just waiting on it instead of just cashing it in for immediate damage, because, well, them chumping is better than us exiling it and just hitting for 7. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how winnable that was with perfect lines, but I think we played it out fine. And we get a really solid run here. We get a 5 and 3 off of a deck with, like, 1 rare. Just the Rattleworm. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that for this deck. Obviously, I think this deck's capable of like a 7-win run, but it's also capable of drawing worse and getting like a 3-3 run. Land right in the middle here, get a really solid run. We're up in value. I'll take it. Biggest weaknesses, biggest problems with this deck, doesn't have a lot of bombs. Miriam kind of counts with the amount of mounts we have. Yeah, we've got Miriam and Rattleworm. We've got the 2 bombs, but this format is so dang explosive that I'm used to our decks having even more explosive cards than just Miriam Rattleworm. So that makes it pretty average instead of great, so not like a consistent 7 winner. And then the other thing is we could have used better non-creature spells. I think Rampage is just kind of okay. It's a little narrow. And we're a little bit low on non-creature spells when you count Tumbleweed Rising as another creature. This is a just big creature pile that could use a little bit more removal. Stuff like that. Maybe even like a Snakeskin Veil over one of these random creatures would be nice as well. little bit more non-creature options would do the deck a lot of good. And there's certainly a little bit of filler, like the varmints and the key keepers are just kind of okay. Could improve some of the common creatures a tiny bit to be better uncommons. You know, kind of nitpicky things. I don't think there's anything horrible about this deck, but I don't think there's anything super great about it either. To where I'm not that disappointed to not get a 7-win run this time around. We'll take the 5-3, we'll take our extra gems, and that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing some more, you can like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.